and say, well, this could be the last day. It's certainly irritating to feel like we've done all the work and now we're battling with the Senate over their piece of the action, and it sort of feels like we're getting ripped off. And I says, I understand that. That's a real thing. That's a real feeling. We've all worked so hard. But I says, you get to this stage in the process, and you sort of have to ask yourself, what is it in me that might be a barrier to bringing this home? At some point, you don't manage anyone else. You manage who you are. And you have to look inside yourself and say, am I going to let the wheels come off because of some grief I have? Or am I going to find a way to kind of say, I took that oath of office to the state constitution to solve our problems, to grow a better future. Better to solve this issue so we can move on to other things. So that's sort of the background to the bill, how it came together. My co-authors, Rob Bonta, Reggie Jones-Sawyer, Tom Lackey, Jim Woods, who was another author, and Mike McGuire, all deeply committed to the cause. And it is very singular that all 6 of us are this new crop of lawmakers who've come into the process. So I think it offers the prospect of a great future to have people working on these issues. The one thing I definitely wanted to say, that's a little bit about my background, a little bit on how the process came together. I was elated because we solved a festering issue, so kind of created some momentum in the institution to solve problems, which is what the state desperately needs. The one thing I just want to say, and it's more just a planted idea, the issue of marijuana is challenging because ultimately this one the larger question of marijuana will end up going to the voters. And just last week, I circulated to my colleagues a proposed comment or speech I'm going to submit to something called the International Leadership Association at a meeting in November about leadership in diversity. And the name of my paper is The Road to Your Future Runs Through Someone Else's Head. Think about that. The road to your future runs through someone else's head. This is true in spades if you're interested in what's maybe on the ballot later this year in the era of marijuana. That deliberation, as it goes through the California electorate, will be deeply affected by what's in the minds of the public. And the one thing that I would just say is I have sort of a dynamic view of how I think this issue will unfold. And I worry about someone in the building getting cute, I would say, and sneaking in rules to greatly constrain the ability of cities in California, and counties if they want, to adopt local rules affecting what they feel is their quality of life. And I only say that because as a league officer, I chaired the Committee on Community and Economic Development. This is a statewide policy committee within the League of Cities, 40 or 50 members. Every meeting, people from cities around California wanted to gripe about how the ABC does its work and improving liquor stores in their jurisdictions, and they have no control. Or other sorts of good facilities, things dealing with people who had, halfway houses and things like that in the community. I just want to say, a lot of Californians, there's almost 500 cities, a lot of Californians do not like having their hands tied in terms of these sorts of things. And I worry a little bit that in the medical marijuana, there may be a move in the legislature to rewrite the rules of last year's bill and constrain the power of cities. And I actually think that is a tactical blunder. I have a more dynamic view of what I think is going to happen in California, and I visited with Paul here at the Regional Council in Mr. Wood's office, expressed this view. In World War II, another military thing, and then I'll be done. In World War II, the campaign in the Pacific was not won by tackling every island every time. The military targeted key islands, sort of island hopping, They went and they were successful on different islands in that battle. And the other ones they left behind. But they kept advancing, and eventually they cleared the table. And I sort of think what I would say, what I would urge you all to take to heart, is that the conversation concerning medical marijuana, I think, was advanced in dramatic ways in 2015. And I think as long as voters in California feel that they're being able to vote on more liberal attitudes towards recreational marijuana, and they are not at the same time being asked to tie their own hands some way in a local control issue, I think you will see it advance. And then localities that may start out feeling very conservative will probably, as they see that all the parade of horribles that they thought this vote would unleash do not unfold, then they will kind of ease up. Sort of like that same little island hopping campaign. You make the beachheads you make, and over time you'll clear the table. So because I do believe that when you have to go to the ballot, attitudes of the public are very important. We're here to wave this yellow flag that as a local government official, I just see ingrained in communities a lot of resentment about the loss of local control. When they have local control, they can actually be pretty flexible. But so I sort of see that as a pitfall that I worry about as the year goes forward. So if you have questions, I don't know how your schedule's working. I'll let you moderate at this point. It's a great honor to be with you.